gets. Ooh,
Can you imagine how well off they'd be if they'd never left?
I'm breaking a 160-year exile and returning to America.
Wow, okay, you just heard a snippet of If They Took Us Back. It's an alternative history film that reconsiders what might have happened for Black people after the Emancipation Proclamation, of 1863, through today, and how that changes culture. Holly Charles Pearson is the writer and director of the film. I cannot believe she got this all done within the space of 1 year. She's here to tell us more about it. My goodness, Holly, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you, and thanks for having me this morning.
Of course. Well, first let's talk a little bit about your background, because you were in teaching, you were in stage production, and now you've turned into a movie director.
Absolutely. I think I was just born a storyteller. And so, yes, I started off with my first book, which was called Velvet, and that turned into a TED Talk, and it's just been spiraling out of control in the best way ever since. I had Houston Play on Purpose, my nonprofit theater company in Houston, and I was able to continue to storytell. And during COVID, I said, now is the time to do what I've been wanting to do, and that is write this screenplay, If They Took Us Back. So this is technically my first film.
That is incredible. I cannot believe the success you've already had with it, because you're already going to be on the festival circuit.
Very excited. We were just selected for the Black Indie Filmmakers Festival in October, so we're hoping for all of 2024 and 25 to be in festivals around the country.
It's giving me chills. Okay, I want to make sure we talk about the content of the movie, because if you just see the trailer and you don't really have any idea what's going on, first of all, you're like, well, I got to go see that movie. But give me an idea of what the storyline is.
Yes, so If They Took Us Back, it's purposely a provocative name, right? And it really, it's kind of like this butterfly effect, where we have an alternate history film that takes you back to 1863 and says that all formerly enslaved people of African descent are sent back to Africa, right? And so 160 years later, they're asked to return to the US for reparations. And so there really was a fragile decision in 1863 in real life, right? Not in the hypothetical sense, but what to do when you have 4 to 5 million formerly enslaved, undereducated people. What do you do after this travesty, after this tragedy of slavery happens? And I asked myself that quite a bit while I was teaching. I used to teach English and literature, African American and American history. And I always asked myself, what would the world look like? What would the US look like without the contributions of African Americans? And I realized that that was a story that needed to be told.
Yeah, well, and I think it really bears discussion, because the America that these folks might come to is a very different America, I would say, than the one we've got right now. It's very, please forgive us. It's very, we're happy to pay you. It's very like, please come.
Yes, and that's exactly what's happening. The saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? And I think with a 160-year exile, 160 years to heal, to rethink, to reevaluate the contributions of African Americans without African American food, without African American soul and music and culture and style and all of these things, and the innovations that were brought to this country because of African Americans or because of African people, I think that there'd be just a different energy around inviting folks back. And so I wanted to change this negative, quote unquote, negative connotation of the word reparations. And in this alternate history film, they're saying, we appreciate you and we want you to come back. And now there's this decision for our main character to figure out, do I deserve, am I entitled to come back and receive these reparations, or should I respectfully reject even the idea of returning to the land of my oppressor?
Interesting. And I wondered, for you, did it feel cathartic at all to make this sort of more optimistic America in some ways?
Yes, I think this was a way it forces you to really think about how valuable African Americans are to this society. Yeah. So yes, it was cathartic for me as a Black woman, right? As a person of African American descent. There are so many things that stereotype African Americans, people of color in general. This is a way to say, let's rethink our place in America. Let's reevaluate, and let's really celebrate who we are.
Yeah, and it's a short movie. It's about 30 minutes, but that doesn't matter. We want you to come out for a full event, right?
Yes.
Tell me about what's going on at the Paramount.
Yes, so what was really, really, really important for my team and I, because there was a huge team of people who put this together, I wrote it and directed it, but believe me, this was not just me. We wanted to create an immersive cinematic event. So ultimately, we decided Juneteenth was the day to do it, right?
Sure.
Juneteenth, where we're already celebrating Black excellence, we're already celebrating Black culture and ultimately freedom. This is when we should really screen this film so people could come in and be entertained and be inspired and all of that in one setting. And so when you come in, there'll be local Black vendors from the community. We also have Professor Elaine Hudson from Houston Tillotson, who will be doing a panel discussion really quickly at the opening to be able to level set for everyone, like the true history of Juneteenth before we jump into this hypothetical setting. We have our featured soundtrack artist, Daniel Fears, who is an incredible soul artist here in Austin, who just received his own day. Congratulations to him,
yes.
June 8th. And we have the entire cast is actually flying in so that they can answer your questions in real time. And we wanted people to have this film festival, right, red carpet feeling of being able to talk directly to the actors. So it's a 2.5-hour event where you'll have everything regarding this film, but it's still going to be celebrating Juneteenth.
I think it's wonderful, and congratulations again, Holly.
you.
I can't wait to see all the festivals that you guys are
Yes.
going to hit. Fingers crossed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, the film screening here in Austin is on Wednesday, June 19th, y'all. It's a can't-miss event stateside at the Paramount Theater. It also screens twice over in Houston on Saturday, June 22nd at the Emancipation Parks Cultural Center.